Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, got a lot of rumors and news items to get into, including some injury news coming up in just a second. But first, if you believe Kansas City is the best team in the NFL like I do, all you got to do, type 1 in the comments section. I want to see 500-plus comments on today's video. So all you got to do, type 1 down below. We know the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, so go ahead and do that. And with that being said, should the Chiefs sign Vic Beasley? That's coming up right now. The Tennessee Titans released Vic Beasley on Wednesday, and that is where we kick things off on today's Chiefs Report. Now, he still has to clear waivers, and if no one claims him, he will be cleared at 4 o'clock Eastern time, and then any team will be able to sign him. Is owed $3.5 million if a team does pick him up? I don't think a team will. He has not been that effective this year for the Tennessee Titans after some time with the Atlanta Falcons in the years before. But I will say this. If a team doesn't claim him, we know Brett Veach is always looking to improve his roster, and he is an opportunistic general manager, just like when he signed Le'Veon Bell. Now, this year he just hasn't done much. He's missed a couple of games, just the 3 tackles there. The pressure rate is under 10% there, which you want to be above that number in double digits. That's kind of a good indicator of getting after the quarterback. And he's got a forced fumble. He's got a couple of quarterback hits, but he just hasn't been that good. Now, his prior 4 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, he was more effective. He had 8 sacks last year, 5 sacks a couple of years before that. Then, of course, 2016, he had 15 and a half sacks. I think those days are behind Vic Beasley at this point. But could the Chiefs bring him in, be a rotation pass rusher for super cheap? I do not hate this idea, assuming he clears waivers. And if he does clear waivers, because let's be clear, I don't want to claim him for $3.5 million, but I'm interested in signing him. Should the Chiefs sign Vic Beasley if he clears waivers? Type S for sign, type P for pass. We'll go ahead and make this the pinned comment on today's video. So let me know, should the Chiefs sign or pass on Vic Beasley? And if you look at kind of this depth chart here, and yeah, you got, of course, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, those are your 2 workhorses getting after the quarterback. But Tano Passanio, Taco Charlton, they're solid rotation guys. And I think you could add Vic Beasley into that rotation. Alex Okafor remains on IR. He continues to not be able to stay healthy. You bring Vic Beasley in here, he comes in on passing downs. He could be effective as well. And I think he has some value as an off-ball linebacker too, which this linebacking unit hasn't been that great. Beasley's kind of a hybrid type of player at 6'3", 246. It's not like he's a stone that only gets after the quarterback. He could play a little in coverage. You don't want him to do that, but he's not completely useless if you want to line him up at outside linebacker as well. I think his versatility could be intriguing to Steve Spagnuolo, who loves versatile players on his defense, like we've seen him do the last couple of years. And the Chiefs have done a good job of creating a rotation of pass rushers, right? Like Frank Clark, really good player, hasn't been the $100 million guy, but get a couple more of these guys in there. You find a Taco Charlton for nothing. He gives you a few sacks. Alex Okafor, when he's been healthy, has done stuff. Passanio has improved. Add Vic Beasley to that mix. Could just be another player that teams have to worry about when they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if you love the Kansas City Chiefs, just subscribe. Go ahead and hit that big red button because we're posting videos almost every single day. And let us know. Type me if you have already subbed. We like to gauge who all that is watching has already subscribed to the channel. So if you would do me a favor and type me in the comments, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But if you haven't subbed already, hit that sub button. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let's get into some injury updates here. Sammy Watkins, is he coming back this week? I think there's a pretty decent chance. Limited participant at Wednesday's practice. We'll see if he can ramp up more here on Thursday. He's, of course, missed the last 3 games with the hamstring injury. I'll say it's a good chance he returns. 65-70% he plays on Sunday against the Panthers. They didn't place him on IR for a reason, so that means initially they thought maybe he'd only miss 2 games, but he's missed 3 now, which leads me to believe there's a good chance he will return, especially after getting back out there on Wednesday. And this would be a nice boost, right? Sammy Watkins, a legitimate number 2 receiver in the NFL. Obviously, the Chiefs haven't really missed a beat without him because they have so many weapons on this offense. But you bring Watkins back into the fold with Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson, Mecole Hardman, Pringle's your number 5 at that point. We know about Travis Kelce, the running backs. It's just another weapon for this lethal offense. Hopefully Sammy's ready to go. The good news is they don't have to rush him back. A, they're playing Carolina. B, they got plenty of weapons. So if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think rushing back Sammy Watkins for this game makes sense. But if he's ready to rock, and it seems like he could be, playing him this weekend against Carolina, ease him back in. You got the bye week coming up soon, and then he can be ready to rock for the stretch run. Do you want Sammy Watkins back next season? Remember this offseason, we didn't know if he'd be back this year. Thought he might just get cut and they would move on, but they restructured him. He wanted to stay. Do you want to bring him back next year on a new deal because he is a free agent? Type Y for yes, type N for no. For the right price, I'm in, but at this point, I'm not overpaying for Sammy Watkins because the Chiefs have plenty of weapons. But let me know. Today's show is presented by BetUS, our sports betting partner here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Make some money by betting on the Chiefs. It's a pretty certain thing at this point. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use that promo code Chiefs125 for 125% deposit bonus. You take a look at this weekend's game against Carolina. Chiefs sit at 11-point favorites. Carolina, the over/under, is at 53 points. I like the under, and I like the Chiefs covering. On our preview, I had Kansas City 34-17. I think they cover the -11, but I think it's slightly under that 53 there. So that's where I've placed my money with BetUS. Again, you can too at chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use that promo code Chiefs125 to get that 125% deposit bonus. L'Jarius Sneed, could he be returning soon? You guys have been asking. He's been out since, week 4 now? He's missed 4 or 5 games, been on IR with that broken collarbone. Typically that's a 6, maybe up to 8-week injury, so I think it's a little early still. We're about 4.5 weeks into the process. I don't think he'll play this week, but they did designate him to return, which means he's entered that 21-day practice window where he can start practicing. He did some things on Wednesday off to the side. I think they're going to slowly ramp him up here, but clearly they think he'll be ready to go in the next 3 weeks. Don't think it'll be this week, but hopefully it's soon because the rookie out of Louisiana Tech has been an absolute gem as a 4th-round pick. 2 interceptions in the first couple of games this year, had 3 pass breakups. He was playing like the best corner on this team. Now, that was before Bashaud Breeland returned from suspension, and he's been solid. But as you guys know, Charvarius Ward has been very up and down. Hasn't been that good since fracturing his hand. So I think you get Sneed back into the fold, you ease him back into things, and for the stretch run, it's possible he could be your number 2 starting outside corner opposite of Bashaud Breeland. So I will pose this question for you guys. Who should start? Type LS for L'Jarius Sneed, type CW for Charvarius Ward. Once they're both completely healthy and up to speed, who should start at that number 2 outside corner position? Let me know. I might lean L'Jarius Sneed if he's playing at the same level he was earlier this season. Couple quick updates here. Nothing major here on Frank Clark. He missed practice on Wednesday with a knee issue. I don't expect this to hold him out or anything like that. He's been a little bit nicked up really his entire time with Kansas City, but typically he plays in games. We'll see what he does here on Thursday. Mitchell Schwartz, he continues to remain out with that back problem. This one is something to continue to monitor because obviously one of the best right tackles in the league and wasn't playing at that level earlier this season. You wonder if the back thing has been there throughout this season, so we'll continue to monitor that situation. He's probably more likely to not play this week, whereas I think Frank Clark likely will play, but as the next couple of days play out, we will have more on that. I want to dive deeper into Martinas Rankin, though, who, as you guys know, started the season on the PUP list after that nasty injury last year. That was a 6-game PUP list to start the season. So now they have to make a decision because once you're removed off the PUP, you got 3 weeks. Otherwise, the Chiefs either have to put him on season-ending IR or he's got to be on the active 53. So it's week 9. It's decision time. You got a couple of days here to make up your minds, and Rankin's a potential starter at guard, especially with Osimile out, if he is activated. So here was Andy Reid on this situation saying he's getting there, he's real close. I think it's great the way this set up where he's got that time to get himself ready to go. He had no camp, and this is the first football he's had the last couple of weeks. It's good for him to get in there and bang around a little bit on the scout team, so that's what he's been doing. That sounds like to me that they're leaning towards activating him for the rest of the season because, again, if you don't do that, he's done for the year. You got to put him on season-ending IR. So we'll see. Nick Algretti's been playing pretty well at left guard, but second-round, seventh-round draft pick from a couple of years ago. Andrew Wiley, he's not a great guard by any means. He's serviceable. He's solid, but a healthy Martinas Rankin at left or right guard, I think is probably an upgrade. The risk, of course, is he could get hurt again, and you've basically wasted a spot there. So we will see what happens with Rankin here. I would like to see him get back into the fold and be involved on this offensive line because he can absolutely mash people. Maybe wouldn't even be that big of a drop-off from Kelechi Osemele now that he's out for a while. So we will see. A lot of injury news on today's show. Get subscribed. We'll have the latest updates leading you up to Sunday's game.